to chat for the hearts that sustain us. Bringing the love where the waves crash and scatter. Words form a bond and they endlessly chain us. Kindness that matters. Voices arise and the flow never falter. Building a space where the ties last forever. Chat is the place where respect doesn't alter, holding us clever. Grateful are we for the sparks that ignite us. Chat lifts us up, every voice brings its power. Threads of goodwill through the storms that unite us. Hope we devour. Here in this space, every heart finds its meaning. Words weave a net where the world feels much kinder. Chat is the pulse, every moment redeeming, binding reminder. Grateful are we for the sparks that ignite us. Chat lifts us up, every voice brings its power. Threads of goodwill through the storms that unite us. Hope we devour.
Hey y'all, how's it going? It's good to see y'all. It has been a week. I am officially 2 weeks from graduation, y'all. 2 weeks from graduation. And last week in class, so one of our last assignments is to write 2 paragraphs of a literature review synthesis. 2 paragraphs. And the professor made the comment to all the students in the class that they could certainly write part of their literature review for their cumulative project, which is great for them. They still have their cumulative project to do. Paolo, how are you? It is good to see you. It is good to see you. The week from HE Double Toothpicks. Has it been brain fog? So he told all the students in the class that they could write this research literature review synthesis, this 2-paragraph research literature review synthesis could be used for their cumulative project, which is great for them. They can write part of the literature review for their cumulative project. But I've already written my cumulative project. Hi, Indigo Twin, and thank you. It's not yet. It's still 2 weeks. I've still got a bunch of work to do. Because I'll tell you what this professor did. So anyhow, I'm so frustrated because well, so does that mean that I can take a couple of paragraphs out of the literature review from my cumulative project and use it for this assignment? But I didn't think I would dare to ask such a thing. But then last night I had lunch with some friends, one of whom has her doctorate in anthropology. And she talked about she they all told me that I absolutely should email the professor. Why shouldn't I email the professor and ask if I can use the literature review in my cumulative project? For what he's looking for. Anyhow, I hope that's making sense. Is that making sense, you guys? So what do you think? Please tell me that you think that what I should have done is emailed him, because that's what I did. I took a deep breath and put my fear to the side, and I emailed him and asked. And it's one of the most terrifying things I've ever done. I suppose the worst he can say is no. The worst he can say is no. Indigo Twin, how is the furniture hunt going? I get there's a lot of nice things that come across Facebook Marketplace, Indigo Twin. A lot of nice things that come across Facebook Marketplace in the Portland area. Hold on just a second, guys. I need to get a lozenge. My mouth is getting extra dry. So here's what the professor did for grading for this class. We've had 20 assignments or so, each worth about 10 points up till now. I have an assignment due Thursday. I think Thursday. I have assignment coming due that's 2 assignments coming due that are each worth 250 points. So it's all the coursework is weighted at the end of the class. Hey, Brian, how are you, honey? It is good to see you. So, yeah, I've done well in my scoring for these 20 assignments. I have done just fine. But now we have 2 assignments, each worth a third of the grade. So 2/3 of the grade is going to happen in the next 2 weeks. You have a friend coming back to town the weekend of the 17th. They are downsizing and willing to give you a friend discount. Just have to set up a donation pickup so you can purge and make room. Excellent news, Indigo. I am so happy to hear that. Brain fog, tell me more about why it was the week from hell. You start class tomorrow. Brian, that's so exciting. 9 a.m. biology and the online music appreciation class will be open to do the work. That is excellent. You're going to do great. You'll really enjoy it. I am so happy, Brian, for all of the opportunity that you're able to access now because you have a car. It's just so wonderful to see the fruition of a good thing that this community did. Thank you for thank you. It's really nice to watch. So I sent off the email, you guys. None of you ever commented if you think I'm right or not to send the email. I hope it wasn't the wrong thing, because boy, now I am doubting myself. Doubting myself. Paolo, are you still here? I totally forgot to give Paolo his first in prize. Paolo, are you still here? Just a constant stream of stress every day, coming to the reality that it will be every day and not just one of those days. The real world is annoying. Yeah, the real world is very annoying, and we need to come up with ways to make inroads. Without this community, I definitely wouldn't be in the place I'm in today. I'm so happy that this community has done such a good thing. Chica, hola, ¿cómo está? It is so good to see you. You think I did the right thing? Well, it wasn't like it wasn't clear. It's more like, if I've already done this work, do I have to do it? You just told them they could do it. You were first. Indigo. Well, here you go, sweetie. Here you go, Indigo. Don't doubt. Email, very good. If you don't communicate, you only have yourself to blame. Yes. Okay, thank you guys. I was gonna say Indigo's next after Paolo, but if it shows different on your end, then that's what we need to go with. I think Cricket was uh inspired by cornfields. I hope the stress lifts soon. It's no fun being in that constant avalanche of stress. Sending warm vibes to you, brain fog. That's from Indigo Twin. That's very nice of you. I need to start doing. You like it? Oh, good. So email me, Indigo Twin. I know I have your email, but please, my brain will not remember unless I do it right now. Let me do it right now. Hold on. Okay, you should have it. Man, you should have it, Indigo. Yes, that's exactly what I thought. Illinois has a lot of cornfields. Yeah. Minnesota has a lot of cornfields, and Iowa has a lot of cornfields, and Nebraska. I was born in Nebraska. Originally, my family's originally from Nebraska. And cornfields indeed. Iowa and Nebraska is my heritage. If you build it, they will come. Hmm. If you build it, they will come. I got it. I got it, Indigo. Tell me if you didn't get mine. So hubby told me hubby read an news article that not a news article, more like a book review, news story, essay, essay he read. And I found it interesting. And I wondered if you guys might find it interesting as well. It says, I thought we could talk about it together. Thank you, Indigo. I like that background too. I'm kind of enjoying the spring. Oh, good. Good, you got it. So the title of this article is I crisscrossed America to talk to people whose views I disagreed with. I now have one certainty, and it's by Anand Pandian. And I thought it might be fun to read it and discuss it together. What do you guys think? So, the subheading says I've spoken to white nationalists in Tennessee and Black activists in Texas and learned about what it takes to connect across difference. And I think connecting across difference is part of what attracted me uh, to go for the degree that I'm receiving is that we need to find ways to connect across difference, even in America. So let's read it, and you guys can comment, and I'll pause occasionally every few paragraphs, and we can see what we think of it. The residential community was lodged near a national forest on the outskirts of Scottsdale, Arizona. forbidding gates and sentry posts, restricted access to the exclusive development and its elegant homes. But security here went much further. Each cul-de-sac in the colony had its own individual railway gate, and many of the homeowners had installed gates across their own driveways as well. Anyone coming in or out of those houses would have to clear 3 checkpoints that set them apart from the wider world beyond. Bill, it's good to see you. Chica, I agree. It is essential that people learn how to listen. It is essential. I was astonished. I would be astonished too, frankly. I mean, but the security director at the gated community saw nothing unusual in such arrangements. People shouldn't be able to just walk into where you live. You should be able to defend yourself against the rest of the world. Immigration officers were doing exactly the same thing along the country's border, he added, defending us. I couldn't help but think about what I had seen in the company of migrant aid volunteers earlier that week in southern Arizona. All the tattered clothes and humble belongings caught in the brush of a desert trail, attesting to the desperation of those who had fled through that harsh terrain. How could people be indifferent to such suffering? I asked one of the volunteers. It's like talking to a wall, he replied. So I think this is the way people feel. Paranoid much. Yeah, but that's the reality, Chica. That's the way people feel. So, over the last 8 years, he says, I have crisscrossed the United States as an anthropologist, trying to make sense of why the rifts in our national culture run so deep. I have talked with home builders in North Dakota and activists for housing justice in North Texas, with diesel truck enthusiasts in Iowa and pedestrian safety planners in Florida, with white nationalist demonstrators in Tennessee and environmental justice organizers in the Hudson River Valley. I have logged many thousands of miles on local highways and country roads, striking up conversations with strangers on park benches and in derelict shopping malls. I recount those travels and their lessons in my new book, Something Between Us: The Everyday Walls of American Life and How to Take Them Down. In it, I argue that in the US, we are at a crossroads, poised between a politics of suspicion and retreat and another founded on more expansive relationships of mutual aid and collective solidarity. In the many conversations and encounters that led this book, I tried to approach people on their own terms, paying heed to their everyday commitments and concerns, often very different from mine. I have come away with a much better understanding of why things are as stuck as they are and what it would take to truly change them. The challenges are real, as I saw one October in Shelbyville, Tennessee. A single middle-aged white dude who lives out in the middle of nowhere in deep South Arkansas. I have a gate at my driveway that I hardly ever close. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have gates at their driveway. I just think, a gated entry plus gates at the entrance seems to be a little overkill. But, you know, if that's what people want to pay for. Yes, Brian, living out in the middle of nowhere, it's not unwise to do that. There there isn't the same sort of police presence. There are animals. There's all kinds of issues that might require the use of a firearm out in the country that don't that don't make as much sense in the city. Yeah, 3 gates is a lot. 3 gates is a lot. So let's see, how long is this? Mm, we'll get through it. So, the challenges are real, he says, as I saw one October in Shelbyville, Tennessee. How are you feeling? I asked the Nepali woman behind the counter of a gas station. She replied with a single word and a tight-lipped smile. Scared. Scheduled that Saturday morning in Shelbyville was a White Lives Matter political rally. Businesses downtown were shuttered. Police had cordoned off roads heading into the town. A pervasive thrum was in the air from helicopters circling overhead. Dozens of officers in riot gear massed on the roofs of low buildings. The October 2017 rally followed the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, where clashes between demonstrators and counter-protesters left dozens injured and one young woman, Heather Heyer, dead. The Shelbyville rally was organized by a Southern separatist group called the League of the South, working with a larger umbrella of white nationalist groups called the Nationalist Front. Which side are you on? An officer asked as I approached the site. Long metal barricades divided the white nationalists from the counter-protesters who were also gathering that morning. I followed a handful of journalists into the security clearance area for the white nationalist demonstrators. I was hoping to talk with some of them to try to understand why they had come to think of their own well-being in such starkly racist terms. Everyone was forced to mill around the checkpoint and submit to a pat-down in the name of safety. The process was long and arduous, so much so that it helped break the ice between a brown ethnographer, the author, and the white nationalists in his midst. Here was something we could complain about together, as if this was a painfully slow line at an airport terminal. I struck up a conversation with a bearded man who worked at a uniform factory in northern Alabama. Yes, Indigo, that is true. I struck up a conversation with a bearded man who worked at a uniform factory in northern Alabama. He was wearing a red MAGA cap with an American flag draped around his shoulders. Flagpoles had been banned. He admitted feeling stupid with a flag on his back. What would look cool is a SWAT vest and gun, he suggested, eyeing the officers nearby. Some of the demonstrators came down to the checkpoint in quasi-military formation, with helmeted young men in rows marching behind plastic shields as a ruddy-faced man with a thick white beard led them in a chant. Oh my, led them in a chant. Closed borders, white nation, now we start the deportation. When they halted, I could see that some of them had swastikas and the letters KKK tattooed on their arms. My goodness gracious. Styled as foot soldiers, many startlingly young in age, these men were a deliberately provocative spectacle of fascist unity. They were also a minority among those who gathered for the white nationalist rally in Shelbyville. That left me curious about the other demonstrators who had joined in plain clothes. How did these ideas speak to them? I found a conversation with a tall white man in a black Carhartt jacket. He didn't want to divulge who he was, and neither, frankly, did I. But it turned out that he was raised in Brooklyn, not far from the Bronx borough where I was born. In his late 40s, with the salt and pepper beard, he had gone to the rally in Charlottesville and had come to Shelbyville for this event. I have an affinity for this side, he admitted. I introduced myself as a writer, and we wound up getting into a long discussion. What do you think of this idea of an ethno-state? I asked the man, bringing up the vision of a balkanized white nation floated by rally organizers. What would you do with people like me? What's your heritage? He asked. My family is from India, I said. I was born and raised in this country, but my parents immigrated here. Aren't you guys Aryans? Both of us laughed uneasily. My goodness gracious. He asked when my family had come to the United States, adding that he had ancestors who had come here during the Revolutionary War era. Our ancestors built this country for their posterity. We feel this is our inheritance. Let me tell you why I'm here, I told him. In the 1970s, there was a shortage of doctors in the United States. The government put out a call, and a whole bunch of them came from India. My dad's a cardiologist. Over the years, he's taken care of thousands of patients, saved a lot of lives. Does that give us a place here or not? Wow, this guy is amazing, you guys. Can you believe it? Like, that is, he's framing the issues so nicely. In the 1970s, there was a shortage of doctors in the United States. The government put out a call, and a whole bunch of them came from India. My dad's a cardiologist, and over the years, he's taken care of thousands of patients and saved a lot of lives. Does that give us a place here or not? Yeah, that's a part of our history, he replied. We can accept that. We can absorb a certain amount of other cultures. The way he spoke, he seemed to be thinking of a national organism, its ability to tolerate some degree of foreign bodies in its midst. Still, the man from Brooklyn insisted, there's no living with the other. What seemed to have gone missing here was the faith that one could live alongside others unlike oneself, sharing a collective life with them rather than living at the other's expense. You got to put your own air mask on first, he said. You got to take care of yourself before you can take care of someone else. You can't help people if you cut your own throat. Shall I continue? They may dispute that the whites have priority. Yes, indeed, Chica. I mean, I've always said I can trace my ancestry back to the Mayflower. And y'all, if we're going to make rules about who can stay and who cannot stay based on what, when, like, Trump, well, I wasn't going to make this political. A lot of people would have to leave. A lot of people would have to leave. Places of belonging can be conceived in defensive and xenophobic Places of belonging can be conceived in defensive and xenophobic ways, as that white nationalist rally had in Shelbyville. But they can also be imagined and sustained in a more hopeful manner as shared spaces of cultural resistance and transformation. I think, for example, of the members of the Denton Women's Interracial Fellowship in North Texas, who led the effort to desegregate their town in the 1960s. I was privileged to meet some of these courageous women during my research. At the turn of the 20th century, the Black community of Denton was anchored in a prosperous enclave at the heart of the town known as Quakertown. Like many other Black townships at that time, Quakertown had thrived with the school and many churches and businesses. Then, in the early 1920s, white civic leaders in Denton led a campaign to appropriate the Black township's land, raise its buildings, and place a public park for white families there instead. Many Black families were forced to leave Denton altogether for other towns and states or further afield. Those who remained rebuilt their community once again on attractive land southeast of the town, past flour mills and two sets of railway tracks, a distant periphery that remains the nucleus of Denton's Black population to this day. I met Alma Clark for the first time at the American Legion Senior Center in Southeast Denton in 2017 when she was 89 years old. She scoffed at the ideas of health and sanitation used as a rationale for Quakertown's removal. We went into the homes of white folk and cooked their food and cleaned their houses. We took care of their children. We were good enough for that, she told me with a tart smile. However much labor the Black women and men of Denton contributed to the well-being of the town's white residents, they had been cast into a space of public neglect. Under these circumstances, families in the community turned to strategies of collective support and caretaking. Women relied on one another to help with their children as they juggled work and other responsibilities. Families added rooms to their own homes to house Black students admitted to Denton's universities, but denied a place in their dormitories. In the 1960s, Clark and other black women in Denton came together with some white women in the town to create what became to be known as the Denton Women's Interracial Fellowship. They began by opening their homes to each other, sharing meals for the first time. Eventually, their conversations led to public campaigns that drew dozens of active women in the town. The organization ensured that its membership remained black and white in equal measure at any given time and alternated its meetings regularly between black and white homes. Denton, Susan, Denton is in Texas. This country was founded because people fled a king. Let's see, let's back up as good. It bothers me that many deny their ancestors are immigrants, immigrants who put indigenous people through hell to colonize the United States. We need to acknowledge this and really sit with that. Yes, absolutely, Indigo Twin. We don't know our heritage. We don't know our own stories. We don't know what happened. I have family that goes way back, Brian says, relatives that fought on both sides during the Civil War. Wow, Brian, that has to be hard to have family that fought on both sides. Chica, I worry about our family members living in the US all the time. Glad Mama and my sister-in-law decided to settle in Mexico. Chica, I am so relieved that and saddened. Relieved and saddened, deeply saddened. This country was founded because people fled a king and unlawful persecution based on religion. It's wild to me that we're seeing a resurgence of that mentality, completely ignoring historical context. But people don't learn the history, Indigo. They don't know the history. I don't understand after all this time, white people say it's theirs, technically is ours. Yes. Colonialism confers a magically accelerated pace for blood merging with soil. Certain people have been here for only 400 years, and that seems to be enough to become ancestral. Doesn't it now, Adam? It's pretty nuts. Denton is in North Texas. That's your hometown? That's so cool, Susan. Let's get back to the story. Let me find it. Indigo, that's terrifying. If birthrights, that's terrifying, Indigo. Susan, sweetie, it is really good to see you. How are you doing? How are you feeling after your surgery? I hope that it's helped. And Indigo, I didn't realize that. I mean, if they revoke birthright citizenship, I'm not sure where it stops. I'm not sure where it stops. Where does it stop? Women in the fellowship made visible the harsh realities of racial segregation. They led a successful campaign to pave Southeast Denton streets and equip them with streetlights. They organized voting drives to register new Black voters and took to visiting local restaurants in interracial pairs to support their desegregation. They distributed cards that encouraged Denton City residents to sign a good neighbor pledge that affirmed the right of every person to rent, buy, or build a home anywhere they wished, even as social and economic forces conspired to keep people mostly where they were. The legacy of the Women's Interracial Fellowship remains widely visible in Denton today. A vivid mural depicting Clark and several other Black women activists with the organization spans both sides of the railway underpass leading into Southeast Denton. An art installation commemorating their work for racial justice adorns a small downtown park close to the central courthouse square, from which a Confederate monument was finally removed in 2020. Contemporary anti-racist organizing in the Black Lives Matter era has drawn from historical struggles in the town on the more inclusive version of home and community that activists have long summoned. We had to help each other to survive, Clark recollected to me in 2022 when I returned to Denton for the Juneteenth celebration that year. She went on to add a striking analogy. It's like making cornbread. You need meal, you need flour, you need baking powder, you need eggs. You need to put all those ingredients to make cornbread. You can't do anything if you keep them separate. Those ladies were ahead of their time, Chica. I agree. I'm of the mind we have way too many strict constructionists on the SCOTUS for birthright citizenship to be revoked. I certainly pray that's the case, Brian. Susan, I am so glad that you're better. That is really excellent, excellent news. It also messed up my grandfather's name, and his records of registration were lost in a fire. It just gave me a new perspective on what people consider privilege. You know, there are lots and lots of people. I also think it's wrong to get rid of colonial statues because it hides our history just as much as other forms of restrictions, like burning or banning books. Indigo, I think this is such. I don't know that it's. I don't know that I would say it's wrong. I think I watched an amazing video by Religion for Breakfast this week, and he was talking about he was talking about how common it is to find Greek and Roman statues of gods defaced with a cross put on their in place of their face, or a cross put on their face. So these statues were defaced and a cross was put in its place, or their noses were removed, or they'd put out an eye and inscribe a cross on their face. But the argument the argument is that this was evidence of how violent the conflict between Christians after Constantine, how violent the clashes between Christians and non-Christians became, that there was this practice and some sects of Christianity who believed in completely destroying the the statues of the Greek gods. Um, and I had to, on the one hand, that is I mean, it's so interesting that the Christians were going around destroying statues of Greek gods. And so, how lucky we are that any of them survived. I mean, really, what you're trying to do when you destroy that is you're trying to deny the reality that it even ever existed. And so I think your comment um is we could put the statues in museums or use them as teaching moments. Yes, I agree. And Brian, history must be remembered no matter how uncomfortable it might make you. Yeah, we need to. I mean, what what do you think about the Christians after Constantine? This wasn't during Constantine, it was after Constantine, but it was common practice, and we don't, of course, know what statues of Greek gods were destroyed because we don't have them, and what amazing works of art might we have had there not been this need to destroy. Indeed, Indigo, we're very young. We're very young. So let's go back to the article. Where are we? Yeah, I really like this analogy she made about making cornbread. It's you need the flour, you need the baking powder, you need the eggs, you need all the ingredients, and they need to be mixed together in order for you to get anything. It cornbread isn't just cornmeal. Even I mean, even corn gruel needs some water, y'all. You can't just keep things separate all the time. You have iconoclasts in all sorts of movements. Yes, indeed. You do. It's very sad. All of us have much to lose in the erosion of neighborly concern, the impetus to look out for others we don't know that well. Neighborliness is a powerful image of collective belonging, especially in a world where relationships span the globe and the consequences of how we live extend to many distant and unseen places. In saying this, I don't mean to idealize American neighbors and neighborhoods. Contemporary patterns of isolation draw on deep histories of racial segregation and systemic neglect in the United States. Lines that have long been drawn between lives that matter and lives that don't. At the same time, neighborliness has also long been practiced as a more expansive form of conviviality, equipping people to live with the reality of social difference and disagreement. One afternoon a few years ago, passing through a small town in southern Michigan, I went out to a park to catch up on some notes and phone calls. After some time, a white man in his 60s sat down on the bench next to me and we fell into conversation. He was slightly drunk, a little red in the oop, pardon me, slightly drunk, a little red in the eye, and keen to talk. He had recently retired from work as a mechanic at a nearby plant. His wife was ailing, mostly bedridden at home, and he was worried about her medical care. I can't remember how the subject of politics came up, but he told me that he had voted for Donald Trump in 2016. He also wanted me to understand that this didn't change what he owed me as a newcomer to his town. No, he didn't know me from Adam, but our meeting was the Lord's blessing, he told me, and I ought to have someone around there to call on in case of trouble. He scribbled down his number and address on a scrap of paper and insisted that I take it. I don't care if you're brown or red or whatever, he told me, and I believed him. As I was heading out the next morning, but I kept thinking about that unexpected gesture of kindness. It was like a flash of some other solidarity that still remained possible. I picked up a pie at a market nearby, meaning to drop it off for that man and his family. When I pulled up at the address he had shared, the shades were drawn and no one seemed to be home. I left the pie and a note on the concrete landing of that small tract house clad in blue vinyl siding. I felt a bit nervous and exposed walking back to my car. I was, after all, a stranger, but it felt like the right thing to do. He had treated me like a neighbor, and I wanted to reciprocate. Such aspirations will face serious tests in the years to come. How will people respond to the deportation of families who have lived beside them for decades, or the gutting of hard-won protections for clean water and air, or the removal of books meaningful to the most marginal members of their communities from local school curricula, or the deepening of media foxholes that celebrate masculine aggression and disdain for the struggles of others elsewhere? Much of Christian faith has basis in paganism as much as they would deny it. Yes, chica. A lot of things like barbecue, collard greens, cornbread came from slave recipes. Yes, indeed, Indigo. Christianity appropriated Beltane, Yule, and All Hallows Eve into their own holidays, and also outlawed uses of herbal healing and natural remedies. People are people. We all squat to go number two. That's what a lot of people forget. It seems that way. Xenophobic and authoritarian politics draw their power from a fear of foreigners and strangers, an idea that the dangers they pose are already around us, needing to be identified and rooted out. But as Toni Morrison observed, such ideas often reflect an uneasy relationship with our own foreignness, our own rapidly disintegrating sense of belonging. The problem lies less with strangers among us than the strangeness within, the consequences of feeling a radical estrangement from the world. In my writing, I try to show how everyday structures of isolation, at home and on the road, for the body and the mind, magnify the social and political divides we lament so often. These interlocking walls of everyday life sharpen the divide between insiders and outsiders, making it hard to take unfamiliar people and perspectives seriously, to acknowledge the needs of others and relate to their struggles. So much turns on the edges between the familiar and the foreign, those lines we've come to live with on a daily basis. Can we learn once again to take these edges as spaces of encounter rather than as hard divides between ourselves and the world beyond? It may be daunting, the idea of making a common life in public space in the pursuit of well-being on imperiled earth, even in the unpredictable span of a conversation with others unlike ourselves. But we need to find our way back to the communion we may share with those beyond our bounds. So the book is Something Between Us by Anand Pandian. So what do you guys think? Growing up in Denton, I had a great childhood. Did not grow up knowing a lot about racism. I had friends, never really thought about one's color of their skin. Yeah, I understand. I understand. It's it's the way a lot of us grew up, not having to think about how to navigate the difference, not having to think about the need for acknowledging the difference. And as someone who, so I tend to think that everybody is like me. I think the book would be an excellent read too, Chica. Should we reinstitute book club and read his book? What do you guys think? I think it was an excellent article. The edges of the differences have become so stark that it seems difficult for people to engage across the lines because we're all afraid of blurring the lines. Have you guys seen the woman who does the rice paintings? You would be interested? Susan, that would be lovely. I will tell you guys what. We will reinstitute book club. Let's make this our June book to read. And let's not go through it chapter by chapter this time. Let's read the whole book in June. And on the first Sunday in July, we will discuss the book. Because of being around Chicago, I was confronted with racism in a different way through our city's complex history, especially with the presence of gangs. Yes, Indigo. When I was kidnapped, we were living in the low income housing. And I was kidnapped by two teenage African American girls who were certain that we did not belong in uh, low income housing. And my mother and father had had run-ins with this family. And so these two girls did what they did. And I have always known, even when I was, oh, Indigo, I don't think you're afraid of blurring lines. Chica, there's got to be some way to get it to you. Let me, there's got to be some way to get it to you, Chica. We will figure something out. I'll buy the book and take it to the library and scan it to a PDF for you. An objectively right opinion, I think that even if there is an objectively right opinion, you're still going to be dealing with people who have differing opinions. And so finish what, brain fog? I got too much brain fog tonight. Read the whole book and finish it, and we'll meet on the first Sunday in July. What's the first Sunday in July? I can't I can't believe the first Sunday in July is the 6th. So the 6th, the weekend of the 4th of July. On the 6th of July, we will discuss this book. Finish kidnap. Oh, what about the kidnapping do you want to know? I mean, the girls took me and my brother and another friend. My brother and this other friend were like two, and we had been, the three of us were playing on the playground, and the girls came up and offered us candy and lured us to go with them. And they took us on a several hour long walk in the community. And then they took us um, they took us to the local community college. I don't know, half a mile, three-quarters of a mile away, maybe a mile. I don't know how far. I mean, not far, but far for a 6-year-old. Um, and they took us down to the bottom of an exterior basement egress. So you go from ground level down an outside staircase to a locked door. And they took us down there and they told us They ordered us to stay there and not come up. That's what they said. And we stayed there for a little while, and then I I had to threaten the boys because the boys were afraid that they'd been told to stay there, and um we walked up the stairs and I walked us home. So that's what happened. And race plays out in every part of that story. It My mom, my poor mom, she was 26, 25. My dad wasn't yet 30. Both of us disappeared. The police wouldn't do anything. Um, it was pretty terrifying. And of course, nobody thought anything about PTSD. Oh God, Chica, I can't even imagine. I can't, I can't, I can't even imagine. My mom talks about it and I, yeah, incredibly frantic. And I walked us home. That's what she says. And you walked him home. I don't remember anything after. I know that I walked us home, but I don't remember anything after that. I don't remember getting home. I don't remember what my parents said. I don't remember. I have no memory after after beyond knowing that I walked us home. I don't have a memory of the walk. I have a memory of the boys arguing with me and me having to scream at them that they had to come with. Susan, the name of the book is Something Between Us. It's by Anand Pandian, and I will type that. Something Between Us. So that's the kidnapping story. I've always found it interesting that I don't have any memory of anything after the kidnapping. If you can one day write about what you remember, this is what is not known, that racial fear on all sides, people get programmed by their surroundings. Yeah, yeah. I I was very afraid of teenage black girls, I have to say. Not my high school was difficult, and I didn't know why at the time. Nobody thought of First Minnesota goodbye, you guys. Nobody thought of post-traumatic stress disorder for anybody. I mean, nobody thought of it for grown men that had been to war, let alone for little 6-year-old girls. Um, yeah, I think it was a traumatic experience for the whole family. Um, And it just wasn't ever, as a family, we never dealt with it. We never, n was never recognized. Brains are good for us sometimes and blocks memories. I don't remember a lot of my childhood, and I know why, and I'm glad I don't. Yeah, one of the things that I've thought about hiring a private investigator to see if he could find the girls. Susan, I don't remember being afraid. I don't remember being afraid. I remember being determined. But I think I think that it was traumatic nonetheless, right? It shaped me in ways that I'm really not sure about. So I've thought, like I said, I've thought about hiring a private investigator to find these women, just because I'd like to hear what happened from the other people who were there. I'd like to hear what happened from the other people that were there, because my memory, I just remember walking. I just remember walking and them talking, but I don't remember what they said to us. I don't I don't remember. Oh, yeah, Susan. Absolutely. But at the same time, I mean, it was just a fear of engaging with young Black women. Statistically, they are not alive and didn't live good lives. That will not make you feel any different. What a formative memory. It's scary, especially because formulated an idea of fear and distrust. I wonder what they were thinking. I don't know what they were thinking, Indigo. Brain fog, that has occurred to me. That has occurred to me. I don't know if it'll make me feel any different, but restorative justice is something I believe in deeply, and it's a piece of my life that's missing. Um, it's interesting. I mean, there's no harm. I could always talk to a private investigator, see what it would see what it would cost. Could always talk to a private investigator and see what it would cost. Statistically, statistically, most people don't escape their kidnapper. I mean, I think they were probably thinking that it didn't matter, they could get away with it, and it just was a harmless prank. It was 1974. My parents couldn't even get the police to make a kidnapping report. There was nothing happened as a result to those girls as a result of what they did. There was no consequence. So, without a police report, I would think it'd be very difficult. Well, we did live in, my mom might remember their names, and we did live in low-income housing. So there might be records. I don't know. I would think it'd be very difficult to find them as well. That's why I haven't that's why I haven't really followed through with doing anything, is I don't know that it would make a difference. So that's the kidnapping story, you guys. I didn't mean to go there. How did we get on this subject? They were sociopaths, and that's why they probably lived horribly and died young. That that could be. I don't know. I don't I don't see. I can't. There was racial animus there that had nothing to do with me as a person. Um, it had to do with class and status and perceptions of belonging. Um, Several of the things that we're talking about in this article, they didn't think my mother's house looked nice and she had art on the walls and she had antiques and seemingly expensive furniture because she shopped at Goodwill and found deals. And so these girls did not, my mom had had run-ins with these girls. And you have to keep in mind there wasn't much of an age difference between my mom and these girls. My mom was only 25 and she had 2 kids, and these girls were 16. Um, Not much age difference there. Not much age difference at all. I don't know. It's worth it's worth talking to a PI and seeing if there's even a chance. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe once I graduate, I'll look at doing that. I want the happy story, brain fog. I want the story that they grew up to be contributing members of society and want an opportunity to make things right. That's the story I want. But you're right, it's probably not the story that I will get. But I think maybe it's a story I should pursue. I've thought about it long enough. At least at least I won't have the question of what I did. I will find a PI with a reputation of honesty, yeah, absolutely. I can ask around. I'm not gonna spend a ton of money. I'm not gonna spend I mean, f I'm not gonna spend a ton of money. Bring me one of those. Do you know, you guys, what my husband found at the local Costco? Let me tell you what he found. They're kind of meh. A pistachio is not pistachio. And the what? Well, it's not knafa. It's just the phyllo that goes in knafa. Yeah. Why is it not? You mean it's not enough? I grew up in the Twin Cities, brain fog, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Hey, Justin, how are you doing? So, hubby found at the local Costco. Hey, Kristen. Justin, I'm not going to drop a Restream link. I'm not going to have anybody up on the panel, Justin. People are here to see me, not you. I'm sorry to say. So you are welcome to stay and chat, but don't keep asking me if I'm going to drop links because I'm not. Okay. I like having you here, Justin. I just don't like being asked to drop a link over and over again. You've been here enough to know that I don't do that. Okay. So he got at the grocery store Dubai chocolate, y'all. So it's kind of like a peanut butter cup, but with pistachio and Crispies. It's not bad. If you like peanut butter cups or you like Nestle Crunch bars and you like pistachios, amazing. I prefer Knafa to Dubai chocolate. If I'm given a choice, of Middle Eastern themed desserts. And we're calling Dubai chocolate a Middle Eastern themed dessert. I would prefer knafa or baklava. I mean, I don't dislike it. It's not it's not everything I expected. It's pistachio and Krispies enrobed in chocolate. Baklava is amazing, Susan. Knafa is my favorite. So knafa is shredded phyllo dough. Journey, how are you? You take shredded phyllo dough and you coat it in, you mix it with butter and you lay it all out in the pan. And then you spread on top of that, you spread sweet cheese. You spread a special kind of Middle Eastern cheese and generally a little bit of mozzarella to give it body. And then you spread the other half of the shredded phyllo dough on top. And then you put it in the oven and hey Fab Daddy, how are you? Trying to make you hungry? Sorry. Just talking about how good knafa is. You have Greek friends and the wife makes it and it's heaven, the baklava? Yes. Chica, adios. Sleep well, dear. It's really good to see you. I always like it when you stop by. I hope everybody is well, all the pups and all the kids and the hubby. I hope everybody's doing well. You have Greek friends and the wife makes it and it's heaven. Does she make spanakopita? Okay, so the cheese things, Kristen, I didn't finish with the cheese thing. So then you bake it. It only bakes for like 15 minutes. It's a quick bake. And then, you know the syrup that goes over baklava? You make the same kind of syrup. You make a simple syrup with some spices if you want and rose water. And you take the knafa out of the oven and you slice it up and you put some syrup on top of it. And that is knafa. It is amazing. Here is, let me get you a picture. There you go. There is knafa. That's what it looks like. That is the golden layer on top. They put food color, traditionally put food coloring in the knafa. That's what it looks like. Just like that. Cheese in the middle. It is so good. It is a very, 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 very tasty recipe. and really easy to make. You've tried all kinds of Greek food. You don't remember all the names, but she's an amazing cook. I bet she is. If you ever have Persian friends, I tell you what, those people can cook. Oh my goodness. They make the best food. The best food. Just Persian food, hands down, one of my all-time favorites. Knauf is really easy to make too. If you go in, Kristen, you can go to the halal store and ask them for the sweet cheese for knafa and the dough for knafa, and they'll know exactly what you want. If you want, I can send you a recipe. It's really, really easy to make. You only need half a dozen ingredients. You don't need to put the food coloring in. That's just for looks, right? Although I have to admit, without the orange food coloring, it does look a little pale and less appetizing. But the orange food coloring is definitely not necessary. You want some more Knafa pictures? Let me find you another good. Oh, here's another good one. This is another version. Yep, and syrup. There's some Knafa. That's how it's traditionally made. And just layered and baked like that. And it comes out of a pan just like that with the pistachios on top. Cheesy and good like that. Yep, just like that. It's so good. So yeah, I am trying to make y'all hungry. Yeah, it's spelled Knafeh. Did you find some decent recipes, Kristen? You're gonna get banged off YouTube for all this food. Oh my goodness. If I didn't get banned off YouTube for the subject we were discussing before you got here, I hope the food corn is not gonna, the food corn hopefully won't do it. It's really good, Kristen. I urge you to make some. Here's another lovely picture. Oh my goodness, all these looks gross. Well, okay, brain fog. That is fine. You don't need to have any. I will take your portion. I will sacrifice for you and take your portion. And you can have my portion of asparagus or broccoli or Brussels sprouts or Swiss chard, any one of those that you might like. I am picky about plenty of things. So I have no problem understanding that certain things just look gross and nobody would want to engage with it. It is sort of a different thing. I mean, sweet cheese is not, but if you, it's you got to think about it like you do cream cheese. You're the one who doesn't like cheesecake? Green veggies are yours? Okay. If you don't like cheesecake, if you don't like sweet cheese, then it might be a bit of a reach. I mean, I like I like brie with hot pepper jelly. It's one of my favorite things. Brie with hot pepper jelly is just one of the best foods in the world. That with some nice crackers, I could live on food like that. That would make me very, very happy. Second Minnesota goodbye, you guys. We're almost to third Minnesota goodbye. Brain fog, do you like baklava? Okay, so here, I don't know how we got, but amusingly, here we're back to the Dubai chocolate. Here is a bar of Dubai chocolate filled with kanafa, which is the phyllo dough and ground pistachio. So I have never told you guys when I was in the West Bank. No, it wasn't in the West Bank. It was in Brion baguette with is the bomb with the skin off. Yes, with the skin off. Baklava is okay. I do not like store-bought baklava. I will only eat it if it is handmade by somebody who is putting love in it. It does not seem to be the same to me when it is mass produced. I do not like the mass produced baklava any more than I like the mass produced hummus. Hummus needs to be made by somebody who loves the hummus. It can't be made by machine. It does not work. It is not hummus. It is something other than hummus that comes out of the machine. So when I was in Haifa, we went to a baklava bakery. And you guys, this place had, I will have to find, you have a bakery that saves the pan made for the regulars. Nice, brain fog. That's nice. I will have to dig up the video of this restaurant in Haifa, not restaurant, bakery, baklava bakery. It was literally covered in 10,000, I'm exaggerating only slightly, 10,000 different kinds of baklava. It was so amazing. You like mass produced Eucharist? Exactly, Adam. It's just not the same. It's not the same. I disagree with you, mass produced Eucharist. Adam's going to hell. I don't know. Hell's a very interesting subject. Hell is a very interesting subject. Kind of fascinates me, the concept of hell. As people put their own stuff into it, it can be interestingly played with. Fascinating. Fascinating. So what else, guys? July 4th, no, 6th. So July 6th, you're trying not to go? I think this is the log, the link for the article. You're good to Catholic Health, so at least the food will be good. I mean, the way people talk about heaven, I think that hell is going to be a lot more fun the way some people talk about heaven. I'm not sure. Antics, I didn't see you had come. Welcome back. It is good to see you. I think you just won third Minnesota Goodbye, Antics. You want to see what you won? Check it out. That one's for you, Antics. That one is for you. Third Minnesota Goodbye. You win it. Oh, you guys, it is warming up so much here that I don't need to have my little space heater on all the time. I just realized I did almost the whole show. You like it? I'm glad. Let me remember. Let me do this right now. Whoops. Should have done that after I shared it, but that's okay. After I unshared it, but that's okay. Let me mail this to you right now, Antics. There you go, Antics. It should be in your inbox. It should be in your inbox. I'll do it right away so I don't forget. So is everybody ready for the week? I have You're welcome, Antics. You've been here, you just went into the kitchen. Well, you know what? You I didn't know you were here. I didn't see you. So you win third Minnesota Goodbye. I have 2 more classes, y'all, and I am done. 2 more classes. So we will do Wheel of Wednesday and I will have 1 more class. This week, next week, we will do Sunday Reset again, but 2 weeks from now, I will be busy graduating. So isn't it, Susan? It's pretty overwhelming. I can't quite believe that I'm almost done. That's beautiful, Antics. Look at you. I love it. I love it. And then on the 6th of July, you guys will have to remind me that we are going to do on the 6th of July We're going to discuss this book, Something Between Us, by Anand Pandian. And we're going to have book club and discuss that book. I deserve an extra N. Thank you. I need all the N's I can get. You guys, the professor, again, 2/3 of my grade are down to 2 last assignments in this class. 2/3 of my grade. Each one of the next 2 assignments are worth 1/3 of my grade. It is so much pressure. And so hopefully we will see what my professor has to say. Carrie Ann. It's got that extra N because, you know, in the lyric, it holds on to that N for a minute. Hey, Carrie Ann. Holds on to that N for a minute. So that's why I've got the extra N in my tag. Hey, Carrie. Oh, that was way off key. You guys shouldn't have to listen to that. No more singing for me this evening. Susan, I appreciate that. I know I've got it. I know it'll be fine. It feels like these last 2 hurdles are huge. I just want to be done. I am so done. That's it. 2 weeks and I'm done. I won't see you guys. I won't see you guys, but I'll see you that Wednesday after graduation. So not the 15th, but I will see you on the 18th. And we will do a graduation celebration then on the 18th. Why don't we do that? We'll have our own little graduation celebration here on the 18th. I'll bring the drinks and the entertainment. You guys tell me what you're going to bring, and we will have a lovely get together. And I know y'all will help me celebrate this accomplishment. It feels like a big deal. I will show pictures, do the whole kit and caboodle. I'm pretty nervous. Lots and lots of butterflies in my tummy. I understand that, Antics. If your guy is there, you need to concentrate on him. You want to have a celebration? We will do that on the 18th. On the 18th. Antics, you have every right. If your guy is here, that's what I want you to be doing. But you got to tell me. Don't just no-show on me. And thank you. He's coming in 3 weeks. Oh my goodness, Antics. That's so exciting. 3 weeks from today? Thank you, Antics. It is pretty amazing. I did never think I'd finish. I really didn't quite think I'd ever accomplish this. So I'm rather pleased with myself. With that, guys, I know we're not to the full 2 hours, but I think I'm going to get going. Thank you all for coming by. Thanks for your interest in the book. I hope it turns out to be interesting. I will make a community post so anybody who wants to can contribute. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. Okay? Take care.